You're listening to the Deep Purple Podcast, a fan podcast about one of the most legendary bands of all time, Deep Purple. We take a look at the music, history, and people behind the band Deep Purple and beyond. Welcome to the Deep Purple Podcast, the first and only podcast devoted to one of the greatest bands in rock history, Deep Purple. Today's episode is episode number 90, Deep Purple, Denmark 72. And coming to you from the hungover suburbs of Chicago, I'm your host, Nathan Beaudry.
And coming to you from the suburbs of Providence, John Pork Chop Matola.
Pork chop. Is it just that you like pork chops? Like at this point, I know they weren't invented in Rhode Island. So
Nope. We're still beyond the Rhode Island facts.
You've used all the Rhode Island facts. So what's up with pork chops?
Well, I mean, I haven't. I'm sure I haven't, but yeah, they're good.
Did you
I just
have
thought
them for
about
dinner
it.
Tonight, or
No, actually, I didn't. I had some leftover Chinese,
okay?
Which was actually it's really good if you put it in the air fryer.
Yeah, I love the air fryer.
Yeah, instead of microwaving it.
Mhm.
But no, I just I was like, yeah, that goes good with my name. There's pork chop.
Pork chop Matola.
Yeah.
It could be something Italian like John Cavatelli Matola.
John Fusilli Matola.
Silly, because you're silly.
Yeah, I know. That's the only. Yeah, thanks, Seinfeld. It's the only pasta that I just always have at the top of my noggin.
Exactly.
Actually, I would like pork chops pretty soon. I did have a pork roast maybe a week or two ago. It's pretty good.
Always a good thing. Well, I woke up this morning with a terrible hangover.
What's that all about?
You know, as we discussed on the show before, like hangovers have nothing to do with how much you drink, or even if you drink at all. I didn't have a drop to drink last night. Got home from work, maybe around 10:30. Didn't really have anything to eat. Didn't have anything to drink, and I woke up this morning just feeling like I'd gone on a bender. So I was dragging so hard all day. I took a nap. Like I take maybe 3 naps a year, and usually because if I'm sick, I took a little nap. Woke up feeling a little bit better, and was cleaning the house, trying to get ready. But yeah, this is welcome to January. Here we are, 2021, our year, new us. We're gonna make it happen. This is the year that everything's going to go right for the Deep Purple Podcast. Not that
I didn't realize. I didn't
Nothing's
realize
gone
anything
wrong.
went wrong.
Nothing's gone. Well, we didn't get Rod Evans on the show in 2020, so hopefully 2021 is going to be our year.
This will be our year. This is the year that we get Rod to come out of hiding.
So we got a big episode today. So we got to go through our as promised, we're going into a proper, really solid Deep Purple representation, Deep Purple proper. This week, after many weeks of assorted offshoot acts, going back to the well, back to the Deep Purple well. Deep Purple Podcast t-shirts available now. Check the link down below if you're watching on YouTube. John's showing off his not Deep Purple shirt.
I forgot to wear it.
The only time I wear it is, I'm usually at work, so I've got something else over it. So I'm not usually wearing this at all. I'm just usually wearing this just for the show. But anyway, if you like what you're hearing from the Deep Purple podcast, if you're getting some value, if you're getting value from me mispronouncing the name of the podcast, then give us some value back. Like if what's your entertainment budget come to? Like, what are you're not going to the movies. You're probably going to Starbucks less. Throw us for as little as $1 a month. You can help support the show, keep us in good things, can support the new computer fund. You can help us acquire new Deep Purple stuff to review. You can buy some merchandise, but we like to start off the show by thanking our patrons and all of those that donate to the show. You can also leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. Donations are available via Patreon and PayPal. And kicking it off this week, hey-o! We got a new Patreon coming in at the $50 Soldier of Fortune tier. This is
crap.
This is a one-time donation. But John Tramontanis, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. He we've been in communication for a little while. He's discovered the show and helped him figure out a way to kind of download some of the MP3s because he likes to listen to an MP3 player. And he said, I just came in today from my daily run after listening to episode number 5, the review of the album Deep Purple. So I've enjoyed the first 5 episodes and your look back at Mark 1. We all have our different opinions about the band, and you've found much humor in these Mark 1 works. I do come at them with a different perspective. I purchased Shades on vinyl in 1968 when I was 11, going on 12 years old. Up till that point, my LP collection consisted of mainly Beatles and Stones, great stuff, and assorted 45 singles from the AM radio playlist. So when listening to these albums back then, there was no In Rock or Burn to compare them to at the time. And not and for that matter, nothing else like it. However, the DP vibe struck a strand of my DNA with these first 3 albums and has been with me ever since. I can't say that I disagree with your observations on Mark 1, but your observations are based on a different perspective. But hey, I've been on the internet boards for over 20 years discussing such differences, and I'm looking forward to listening to more of the Deep Purple podcast. Put me down as a patron. By the way, my only nitpick is I feel you shortchanged Why Didn't Rosemary in your review. You moved on to the next track without giving much of a nod to the awesome shredding RB did on his 1 minute and 30-second plus solo, arguably the best Mark 1 guitar work. May have even heard 2 or 3 trills in there. I rate it 5 stars easy. Also, shout out to John for pointing out what delineates Blackmore from most guitarists, aside from his brilliant playing, is the ability and feeling he exudes from the instrument. Perhaps I'll start listening to more current episodes first, so I don't hit you with these dated comments. I really enjoy what you're doing. Appreciate your effort. It's so nice to hear and talk about Deep Purple and the related tree. Keep them coming. And I've since heard from him. He listened to a recent episode. What was it? One of our recent episodes. It would have been Ian Gillan Scarabus. He wasn't familiar with the project, so he listened to that recently and really liked the episode. So thank you, John. That's much appreciated. Much appreciated coming in at $50 tier 2. At the $25 Super Trooper tier, as always, Steve Seaborg of nameonanything.com and alltheworldsofstage.net, and purveyor of these t-shirts as well as mugs. Oh, there's a mug. The $20 Shades of Deep Pockets tier, Ryan M. The $15 Highball Shooter tier, Alan Ain't Too Proud to Beg. The Turn It Up to $11 tier, we have Frank Thielgard Mortensen, Clay Wambacher, Mickelstein. At the $10 Someone Came tier, Gerald Kelly and Jeff Bryce. Did I pronounce that right? He just sent me, I think I pronounced it right. He sent me an email on how to pronounce it, and I already forgot. The episode $6.66 tier, Richard Fusey. At the $5.99 nice price tier, we have Fielding Fowler. At the $5 money lender tier, we have Greg Sealby, John Convery, Arthur Smith, German Heindel, Adrian Hernandez, Kenny Wymore, and heyo, Jesper Almen. I hope I'm pronouncing your name right. I reached out for a pronunciation, but came in right before the show. So I didn't get the response back yet. And heyo!
Heyo!
Another new patron, Oleksiy the Perfect Strangers Slyapikov. I hope I'm pronouncing that one right. Also reached out for pronunciation. That one came in even more recently, just mere minutes or maybe an hour after Jesper. So hopefully I pronounced that right. Get back to me on that. The $3 Nobody's Perfect tier, we have Peter Gardeau, Ian DeRosier, Mark Roback, Anton Glaving, Will Porter, and Andrew Meyer. And at the $1 made-up name tier, we have Els Murders, Spacey Noodles, The Heinous Leaky Mausoleum, Michael Vader, Stephen Somerville, The Concerto 1999 Fanatic, and
Heyo!
Raf Calf coming to us as another new patron. So holy
Who-
moly, 4 new patrons.
Who is it?
Raf Calf.
Raf Calf. I
Raf
like
Calf.
that.
It's a I guess kind of a it's kind of a nickname. But I like it. Raf Calf. It sounds like half calf. I don't know if that translates, but like in I don't know in other countries, but if you in America, if you have a cup of coffee and you just half regular coffee and half decaf, it's a half calf. So I always think of that when I think Raf Calf, half calf.
Yeah.
So he's not too wound up. He's just right, you know. But I like we've been communicating just like Stephen Somerville. We've been communicating with him on Facebook for a long time, and just joined the patron level. So thank you so much. So wow, if we can do every week, we can have 4 new patrons like this in 2021. Then maybe we can quit our jobs by June.
That would be nice.
Yeah, that'd be very nice. Hopefully sooner. Please come in 8 patrons a week. We'll quit by next week.
Geez,
Um,
I think we've had 4 Hayos before
I know that's great. Yeah,
one episode.
starting to wonder if like, man, we might have to move this to a different part of the show, or like abbreviate it, or cut it off at the $5 mark for call outs, or I don't know. There's so many names. It's great. I mean, I guess we just continue reading them off, but thank you to all of you so much. And thanks to the Deep Dive Podcast Network, Sabbath Bloody Podcast, Skinner Reconsidered, T-Bones, Prime Cuts, soon to be T-Bone on the other side, as Rye says, coming with a new podcast, In the Lap of the Pods and the Magicians Podcast. And of course, Jorg Planer, the patron saint and archivist of the Deep Purple Podcast. So, wow, we have a big episode for you this week. And I think we just got to get right into it. And
Yep.
this is something we've talked
Let's do
about
it.
on the show, oh God, a million times, which is Deep Purple, live in Denmark, 1972. It goes by many names. Live in concert, 1972-73. Scandinavian Nights, live in Copenhagen, 1972. Live in Denmark, 1972. But this is it. This is the show you're seeing, which we'll start up in just a few moments here. But like we talked about, we had a bootleg version of this in the early 90s that we got, and you got it from who knows where, and I probably copied it off of you, and I don't know how
It's
many
probably
generations old that copy was.
back here somewhere in these VHS tapes still.
Yes, mine is
The original
got it.
one that I got.
Mine's got to be around here somewhere because we talked about it on that episode where we went through
Well,
all of our merchandise.
I mean, I had like they had, as I've talked about before, like these collectors events and stuff like that, record shows, whatever. They'd be selling. I don't know if we ever went to one. Did we ever go to one together? They would sell like all the old vinyl, and they'd have the TVs set up, and showing videos and stuff. And my favorites were always like the Kiss concerts, of course. It was just like, wow. That was the first time that I'd ever seen footage of like, wow, there are like concerts from, at that point, like, 25 years ago or whatever. And the Deep Purple one, I mean, I can't remember specifically when I got it, but it was definitely from one of those bootleg places, either that or through the mail, because I had gotten into some mail order stuff too. You fill out the form and put your check in or whatever, send it away. So I did a lot of that too, with like that, horror movies, things like that. But to this day, I think this is still like the holy grail of Deep Purple shows. Like, I still love watching this one more than anything.
Yeah, and I can't remember the last time I watched it. It's been such a long time, but I have my 3 copies, which we talked about on our memorabilia episode. Completely worthless VHS copies here of things. The first one is the Royal Philharmonic. So Deep Purple, the Royal Philharmonic, which it's not even the Royal Philharmonic, is it? No, it's the whatever Philharmonic, but a Deep Purple. And then I, for whatever reason, in Dymo label, I wrote 1969 on it. And then skipping ahead, we've got Deep Purple California Jam, 1974. Boom, and Dymo label. That's Peter Gardot. That's for you. And then the middle child of those 3 bootlegs I had is this Deep Purple. It says Deep Purple Denmark. Boom, 1972. Check out that Dymo work there. No 2 Dymos are exactly the same. It's like they're like fingerprints.
I think it's because you had the Dymo label and you were just like
I just
obsessed
Dymo
with
labeled
using
everything.
it.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, what is that, a thing? I'm going to Dymo label it.
Yeah, there you go. Boom.
So yeah, so I'm not using my VHS copy. This has since been released officially, because at that point I don't think it had ever been released officially. But it got a CD release and a DVD release and all that. So I've got a much nicer copy than what we would have watched. Although it would be kind of fun to, if we could figure out how to hook up a VCR to Zoom and watch this old rickety tape. Probably selling garbage, but
yeah. But as I mentioned on the show before, when it came out on DVD, that was great, because then I could see it again, because like you just said, who the hell has a working VCR player anymore? I mean, I'm sure some people do.
I got VHS tapes. I don't know what to do with them, but
yeah. So it was great to see it all cleaned up and just easy format to watch. And now, of course, you could pull it up streaming or whatever, but still just like great to watch. I've seen some like on like Facebook, watch parties and stuff. I think some people have even like colorized it. like
Yes, yeah,
coloring it up.
recently, yep.
Yeah, not a huge fan of that. I've never really been a huge fan of colorization to
Yeah.
begin with. Even like the old, Ted Turner style colorization type stuff. I always just thought like, black and white is black and white for a reason. There's another kind of famous show, Kiss in Winterland, 1974, for some reason shot in black and white.
Hmm.
Um, just works.
Yeah.
It
It's one of
just
those things like it's I've seen the colorized versions from this, it looks great and it's very impressive.
mm,
But yeah,
yeah,
it's just like anything else. You remember seeing it in black and white, and that's you just kind
yeah,
of want to go with the original. It's just like when they update album covers, you're like, maybe it looks better or whatever. But I like, or even sometimes the mixes that they do on albums, like you just
yeah,
don't really, you don't like the newness of it. It might sound better from on a technical standpoint, but you want to go with what you remember. So yeah, we should kick this off because it's a full concert here.
mm,
Let's see if I can find it here. I had it a second ago. Boom. Here we go. All right. Share the screen with you. And we're off to the races live in Copenhagen.
We got the telly here tonight, so we gotta be good. And as soon as we get tuned up, we'll be right with you. All right?
All right. They're warming up. And on this, they've got the kind of you hear the band just kind of jamming around. You see the clips from the show and them introducing the members of the band, John Lordy and Gillan, Ritchie Blackmore, all that. So the thing that I really love about this is you're seeing Deep Purple right before they're about to really explode.
mm.
This was recorded March 1st, 1972.
Yeah. So this was Machine Head was still new. Yep.
This is one off the next album we got coming up.
Well, it's before Machine Head was released, so
And this is,
Right.
likely to remain our opening number for the next year or so. They call Highway
Spoiler alert.
that's just there's Ritchie angling his Marshall stacks towards Ian Gillan. He likes to do to bother singers from time to time. But you're seeing one of the very earliest versions of Highway Star live here. How's the volume on that for you?
Yeah, good. It could go up just a little bit, like a smidge. Yeah, there we go. No way to
But
hear this other than loud.
It's really hilarious how Ian Gillan says, "Oh, this is going to be our opening number for maybe the next year or so." Try 50.
Take my car, we're gonna race into the ground. And nobody gonna beat my car, we're gonna break the speeding sound. Oh, it's a killer machine. It got everything. Like a driving car.
And it's
Hypnotizing everything.
you're hearing
And I mean it. I feel it.
you're hearing them they're so raw in this, and it's amazing seeing them play these songs that you've heard a million times.
I mean,
Seeing it live from the moment.
what's great about this is that I don't know, it just, not that it's supposed to sound like the album, but I mean, I don't know, it makes you feel like the album performance was raw too. Because it's, you know what I mean? It's not like, oh wow, they sweetened it up so much in the studio. What even is this song?
Right. When you
And
also
I mean,
you it's not they're not going through the motions. It's like a new song for them. Not that they were ever going through the motions, but if you fast forwarded to the 90s hearing them Mark II lineup do this song, they were just so much more comfortable playing it. And not that they're uncomfortable here, but you know what I mean. Like they're letting loose a little bit more. It's probably not even, maybe haven't gotten into all the little things that they would throw into the song over the years.
Well, I mean, think about it too. I mean, you know, they're still a new band at this point. They're all young. They're at their peak. Everything is still new, including their fame, which they were just like at the brink of. So I mean, of course, this and they you know, this couldn't have been recorded on a better night. Like, I mean, this was like an unbelievable performance.
Oh yeah.
Like, this wasn't like last concert in Japan where they caught them on a shit night. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
This is
Still
like
released
one
it.
of the arguably the best lineup of the band, like at their peak.
Right, not just at the peak, but before they hadn't released Machine Head yet. So yeah, they were obviously doing well, but 2 years after this, they'd be doing. I don't know how much. I think the place they're playing right now holds like, I don't know, 10,000. Who knows how many people were there? Maybe 6 or 7. But fast forward 2 years later, they'd be playing California Jam to like arguably 500,000 people.
Right. Oh, Gillan's getting pissed at somebody.
Oh yeah, I remember. Yeah.
Right, wasn't this one like somebody was causing trouble and he was yelling at him? That's why
Yeah,
he was
like-
going, "Oi!"
He's pointing. I mean, maybe somebody's starting a fight in the crowd or whatever, and he's pointing and
Yeah.
like probably signaling security to get him out or whatever. Camera work of watching Ian Gillan groove along and not seeing what Richie's doing on the guitar. Classic.
Oh, my God.
You had a
I mean,
nickel
you
for
know,
every time. The
makes up
iconic
for it later,
solo
but-
in its early days and you can't even see it.
Just another one where you want to just go and like, you know, just slap, slap the shit out of whoever put this together.
Ah, there he is. Look at that. He's going into something different there. He's not going right into the... And that's unusual. Again, showing you something that would be so... Over the years, even probably a year after this and onward for over 50 years, you'd expect them to go into the... maybe I'll throw it in later, I don't know. He's doing one of his classic early Ritchie strangling the guitar sort of thing.
I also love this too because this is like, I mean, look at the stage. I mean,
Yep.
this is like a small stage. It's just a wall of amps, and like the guys on it. I mean, like when you look at like some like when Roger is like walking up and down the stage, it's like he's kind of like it almost looks like he's like squeezing his knees together and like, you know, kind of strutting up and down because he doesn't have enough room to move around.
Yeah.
You know, it's like I don't know. I've always loved shows like this because it's showing them so early, and you just like think of yourself back in the audience, like, wow, what would that have been like to have been like one of these like what 500 people or however, you know, many people were there to just like see this and not even know what they were witnessing.
Those drumsticks paces using look tiny. They look like knitting needles to me. Like they're. I've always thought they look so small.
Look at this. It's like a club.
Highway Star, it's all about a freak in his car. Just goes bombing up and down the country all the time and having a good time. This is one of the older ones we used to do.
Love it.
It's a song about a man who is a friend of ours, and it's also a true story. This fella's mixed up with this really evil bird, you know, and it's, like she gives him a hard time, they get married, and a few days later she dies. And this is the story of it. I'd like to tell you now. A song called Strange Kind of Woman, this one.
It's so old. It's like what, a year old?
It's an old classic. Wasn't this the one that was supposed to be called? It was going to originally be called Prostitute.
But I just love this. Like Ritchie just like tuning his own amps and, you know, just fiddling with his own amps, his settings and everything.
And that little. I used to do that like when we were warming up on stage, like forever, just like. Not as good as he does, but.
Of course.
And you're seeing on this show a really unique set list. You wouldn't see set lists like this again.
No, it's great.
A lot of the things are going to be in there for a long time, but
right. But like you said, like even the thing that we're going to see, which is Ritchie and Ian dueling with the guitar and the vocals. You know, it's like, you know, that probably wasn't even around that long at this point.
I mean, God, they would have, at this point, only been together for about less than 2 years, right?
Well, I mean, there's...
two and a half years, maybe.
There's something different about seeing them do that shtick or, like, doing Highway Star now than if you listen to Nobody's Perfect, right?
Yeah.
Years later. You know, which is why I think that I'm not really interested in like later live albums, because it's like, all right, you know.
You know, this is probably in the middle of just like a really long run for them too, and it's always great to just see like this is just another night for them.
Yeah.
But we're lucky enough to have this great video and great audio of it.
And I mean, like, this is also like, you know, the classic Deep Purple look. Roger with the hat, Ritchie with the big open, you know, shirt, unbuttoned, you know, Ian with the hair, Casey with the glasses and the tank top. You know what I mean? It's like, this is just like the most classic Mark. Like, if you said to somebody like, oh, you never heard of Deep Purple? Well, what are they all about? Show them this video.
Oh, yeah.
The whole thing.
Good shot of everybody in the band during that guitar solo except for Ritchie.
Oh, God damn it.
So this venue, KB Holland, has a capacity of 4,500, so it's a small place.
I wonder, was it? Do you have any info as to was it at capacity or?
I mean, I don't know how many would have been in attendance that night.
All right.
But
well, for sake of argument, if 4,500 people were there, it's not that big.
No.
Which makes it even cooler. I mean, to me, I've said it a lot of times, is that like I prefer a show this size or a club venue to a stadium or you know, an arena any day. Honestly.
And the interesting thing about this venue is this venue would have been less than a year later. They would have played this on February 9th, 1973, and that was the show that Lars Ulrich was at as a 9-year-old.
Wow. Huh.
The first time he saw them, and he says this is where he used to play tennis as a kid, and they played tennis at this place. Deep Purple was in town. He went there with his father, I believe, and went out the next day to buy Fireball. It was the first album he could find, and that's what turned him onto the band and made him a huge Deep Purple fan.
You know, I just realized that even back then, Ian Gillan was doing the crazy old uncle dance, except he looks a lot better doing it when he's in his 20s.
Well, yeah, I mean, when you're young and handsome, you can get away with a lot more than when you're an old man. I mean,
well, then it looked like the crazy old uncle dance. It looks like he was like shaking his booty.
He's a bit of a silver fox now, though, I'd say.
So evil, man. She used to do the worst things. Let me tell everybody, we're just doing the one tonight.
She used to do the worst things. Elaborate.
I like it. He goes, "We're just doing the one tonight," and Richie's like, "No, we're not."
She's like, "We'll do what I say we'll do."
I feel like that's what he was trying to do. This is great. I remember the first time seeing this and just being like, no other band that I had ever seen up to that point, or maybe even after, had ever done this.
No, it's great.
Thought it was so cool. Still do. Richie's like, nope.
Not that one.
I love it. Glover breaks out the tambourine.
Woman in the crowd wigging out. A woman, that's a girl. It's a little girl. It's like 14.
I love it.
15, maybe.
The early 70s, like, psychedelic dancing.
Yeah. Before they figured out you didn't have to dance like that.
Get on there.
I think Roger's got the tambourine.
Yeah.
Slide on now.
John Lord just slapping those keys on the organ.
Like, I mean, look at this. Everybody is doing something right now.
Yep.
No slackers in this band.
All right, let me hear now. All right, get on. Now,
Great.
I love it. You almost heard Richie have like a brain fart there for a second.
Because he knows Ian's messing with him.
yeah.
See Roger just like toss the tambourine up in the air like burp.
Up. Up with that.
Ow! Ow! Oh, my soul, I love you. Get on. Ow! Yeah.
Incredible.
Unbelievable. Still,
I'm
still
sure
gives
somebody
me chills.
listening was at that show, and I would love to hear from them. Maybe it's that guy.
Oh boy, here we go.
Ugh,
They already know.
They know. They know. This always makes me think of being in your parents' basement on the TV watching this for the first time. It might have been the first time I ever heard this song. Was watching this version of it.
Yeah.
And this to me is always the definitive version of this. It's not the album version. It's not the Made in Japan version. It's this one right here.
And I mean, there's just like no BS. They weren't like doing a lot of stage, like, stage raps or anything like that. They just went from like, just look at that. They just like crazy, that crazy ass song. And then they just, boom, slowed it right down. And now it's a total different mood. And his voice is like flawless.
And he starts off kind of a little gruff on the first couple songs, and by the time he gets to this song, he's like warmed up.
Your eyes, you'd better bow your head. Wait for the ricochet. I'm crying for you day and night.
To think that he sang this for so many years and he's still singing now and sounds good is kind of unreal to think about it. I mean, sure, he can't do this anymore, but I mean, the fact that he can still sound as good as he does at all. I mean, he must have really taken care of his voice.
I mean, against all odds.
Yeah, or he's just like, an anomaly, like Glenn Hughes.
Well, I think when we talk to Claude Schnell, I mean, one of the things we asked him was working with Hughes and with Dio. Did they ever do any vocal warm-ups or exercises or any of that stuff that you see people do? And he was like, absolutely not, like nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing to. And I'm sure Ian Gillan was the same way. I can't imagine. I can't imagine he was doing the necessary things to take care of his voice. He just had a natural gift and used it. I mean, Hughes is obviously the rare example of somebody who hasn't lost a beat. Hughes could do "Child in Time" now as a if he needed to take it easy for a song,
Yeah. Oh, there's the bongos.
And there's the spare kick drum in the back too. Waiting for later. But so this venue is really, really interesting because we talked about it from this performance. Lars Ulrich, yet less than a year later, would see them for the first time there. And then the same year that Lars Ulrich saw them in February, in December, the Mark III lineup would play their first show ever at this venue. So this was their public debut, was at the same exact venue. So a lot of history there.
That was I thought that I recognized that picture because you had posted it recently. Yep. I'd never seen it before, and I was like, that looks a lot like the Denmark 72 picture, and I never thought that Mark III played a venue that small. It looked really familiar. Now I'm kind of blown away to hear that that's that same venue. I mean, not that it's that weird for bands to return to the same venue like year after year, but...
No, but it's interesting that there would be so many kind of historic moments for the band and just for rock in general, I guess. This is one of their most well-known live shows. The Mark III lineup performing there obviously is monumental. Lars seeing them there is a pretty big moment for I mean, what would have happened if Lars had never encountered Deep Purple? I mean, would have set him on a different course, potentially. And the club, the original building was destroyed in a fire in 2011, but they renovated it and it reopened last year. Not a good year to reopen for live music, but it is back restored. It looks great. He just kind of changes it to like a church or church sort of but this is great, and this I like. For me, this is the song for Mark II that is the most fun for me to watch live. And for Mark III it would be like Mistreated, which is that song where there's so much going on dynamically. It kicks into these huge, big, powerful moments. It's got these really quiet moments like this. Ian's got broken out a maraca. Not content to just hang with the bongos. When I was a kid in church, Beverly wasn't doing this on the organ, I'll tell you that. Ian kind of lost the beat there for a second. He was on the upbeats and he had to kind of regroup. Listen to that. That's nasty.
I love this because it's just like they're just somewhere else now. Now they're just jamming.
Yeah, it's like, oh, this is still Child in Time? What? Look at that.
You see that slime movie and threw the maraca over his shoulder? Blink and you miss it.
There's somebody behind the marshals with a net, like catching all the discarded percussion instruments as they fly over the cabs. So good.
Jesus, how do you not find that? How could you not find that amazing?
It's, I mean, just how tight they are. It's.
But I mean, at that point, it was just like Ritchie, John, and Ian Paice were all synced up, like kind of doing the same thing. It was like unbelievable.
It's hard to watch this and think, like, we've talked about it many times, how growing up in America, Deep Purple just wasn't. They didn't get the same credit that a lot of other bands got, and it's really hard to see why, to understand why, when you see performances like this. I mean, you've got great live performances from, you know, Zeppelin was probably the closest band that was kind of doing anything on this level as far as a jam.
Yeah.
Oh, there he goes. Puts the pick in between his teeth so he can just curly slap the guitar.
Oh yeah, when I saw Ritchie going nuts on the guitar like that, I'm just like, this is really cool.
And it's like, and you can kind of turn your nose up at the gimmick of it, or like playing the guitar with your butt or your feet or whatever, or slapping it like he just did, but guarantee you, if you try it, it's not gonna sound good. It's not gonna sound as good as it does when he does it. Like, what he's doing should not sound good.
Yeah, but the other thing too is that, I mean, you know, he goes from like playing the guitar with his ass or whatever and kicking it around, and then he just picks it back up and just starts, you know, creating brilliance, like actually playing like music.
He
You know,
runs
it's
back
not
and
like
almost
he's-
knocks over those stacks there.
It's not like he's just dicking around.
Right. Yeah, if I put a guitar on the ground and stepped on it with my feet, it would be a mess.
That would be it. That would be it.
I love what he's doing. Those little, all the fills he's inserting on the keys are just incredible on this.
Sweet child in time, you'll see the line that's drawn between the good of us and the bad of us.
The good of us and the
See
bad
the
of us.
blind man shooting at the world.
I love throwing in little laughs.
Bullets fly
He's amused.
Like he's just reading the lyrics for the first time or something.
everyone. If you've been bad, Lord, I bet you have. And you've not been here. You've not been hit by flying lead. You better close your eyes. Bow your head, yeah. Wait for the ricochet.
That girl in the back is still wigging out. It doesn't matter like if fast, slow, heavy, loud, quiet. She's just doing her like weird psychedelic dance.
Yeah, that's something.
He just like caught it. He had to like clear his throat for a second and came in a little late. It's like he's not drinking any water. Like, how do you do? I can't even do this podcast without drinking water.
Because you're not Ian Gillan, that's why.
Yeah, well, that's an understatement. You know that this is the day too. Like, there was no like bottled water. It's easy to see how Tim Rice and Andrew Lloyd Webber would have seen him performing this song and said, "This is the guy we want as Jesus." Since most of what Jesus is doing is like,
If you're only about 3 foot tall, it don't matter, baby.
Oh boy, here we go.
Somebody underneath you. You can never be at the bottom, you know what I mean? Don't feel so bad.
Oh boy, here we go.
I don't know. I just feel like that's.
Listen, just be happy. Stick around in the middle somewhere. You know what I mean?
I don't know. I just feel that's just a really dated, like early '70s rap type of thing.
But he still does that, you know, like
I don't know. It's just like I just think it's funny because it's just so like that's so late '60s, early '70s.
oh yeah, it's
You know.
But it's funny because you talked about his kooky uncle dance, and it's like he still does that. Like when I went to see him last year, it's just like, oh, I was stuck here in was Harriston, and you know, he throws in those little things in between the songs, and he's still got that same like sense of humor. Wow, phenomenal.
Yeah. No, that was.
And this is on a DVD that's has this and a much shorter segment of a show they did in New York, which is really interesting.
Plenty of time, don't worry. We got all night.
We'll cover that in another episode.
We got
Yeah.
this
He's
is
like,
the
"Oh."
last album of Firewall.
Looked at his watch.
A thing which we've based this around something Little Ian does on the drums. And the song
Little Ian.
Little Ian.
is a thing, it's a tune called The Mule, and it's all
Oh,
about
Nate's favorite
Lucifer
song.
and some of
I like
his
it live.
friends, most of whom are sitting around tonight somewhere.
This, for my money, is Ian Pace's best. Not that I've seen every one, or even a tiny fraction, but this is my favorite Ian Pace drum solo. And I remember playing this for Scott, who was on the show in our Coverdale Page episode, and his brother Dave, who were both drummers, and neither one of them were like huge into Deep Purple, but I remember playing when I got my copy of this from you, right here. I remember playing it for them and them being blown away by it.
Of course they were. You know, I wonder if like Ritchie ever pulled like he must have pulled a muscle doing all that crap like with his leg when he would like do that thing and like bend down, like pull a hamstring or an inner thigh muscle, or he had to have.
I heard he's had some like recently back problems.
Which is this is the kind of crap that I think about now when I see that. Back then I'm like, that's awesome. Now I'm just like, man, I wonder if he limbered up or ever pulled any muscles.
yeah, exactly. It's the difference between what age you're watching this at. I mean, they're like half our age now when they were doing this. It's like hard to think about that.
I always thought it was cool that Deep Purple had a song about Lucifer. Or they mentioned him, you know, it was kind of made him almost like, you know, Black Sabbath-like, you know?
Yeah.
And the song kind of had like that dark tone to it a little bit.
Yeah, especially live when it goes to this part. Ian Pace's pants look uncomfortably tight. That big belt. Oh, so good.
I just remember being really impressed by this too, not being a drummer.
Right, and not being a drummer and not being someone who's like huge into watching drum solos.
Well, I think it's the same as just like watching this whole band during the show. Is it's just like, I mean, it looks like, you know, it's a small drum kit. It's
Yeah, he's
like
got a
stripped
four-piece.
down. Yeah,
Crazy.
it's just kind of a stripped down show. It's just him just playing his instrument, you know, showing his talent and his energy.
And you wonder at this point, how long had Ian Pace been playing drums? 6 years, 7 years? It's like, and going for all that finesse work and all the dynamics he's throwing in there too. Somebody, people just wandering around in the background.
See, that was the kind of stuff that I noticed too. Like when I first saw this, was just like there are just people walking around. It's just all loosey goosey, whatever.
Yep.
That kind of thing just impressed me. Like, man, how cool would that have been? To just walk by Deep Purple like you didn't even care.
Yeah. Well, they go. It's like you forget this is a big production. There's people like they got stuff to do. They're getting stuff set up.
Yeah.
That cowbell looks awfully lonely though. I think he needs to give it some love. It's funny that he has the cowbell mounted like where you would mount a second tom, instead of like over the hi-hat or something. It's like the camera of the time can't even really keep up with his hands how fast they're moving either. Listen to that. It's so incredible.
Jesus.
He's like trying to get the hair out of his mouth. I love this part. He's licking his lip trying to get that hair out. Can't get it. I remember those days of having long hair. How fast he's hitting that single bass drum. John Lord just having a smoke over there with Roger Glover. Glover's grabbing his bass, so you know it must be coming to a close. And it's like nowhere else for them to go, so they're just on the side of the stage, like trying to like lean back and.
See, that's another great thing about this era is like, you know, now everybody's all about being perfect and not doing these extended solos and everything. I think it's great to just watch this kind of thing and get lost in it. You know, the era where everything wasn't perfect and where everybody took a big ass long solo.
Yep.
Sometimes that's what you want. I mean, especially musicians of this caliber.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what this show would have looked like. Like, would there have been an opening act? But yeah, they're getting a, you know, a solid hour and a half or more of performance from Deep Purple. Here it is. I just found the show. Let's see if I can figure out. Oh, dude, Roger's bass is all of a sudden out of control. So it looks like they would have had an opening act of Philip Goodhand Tate, an English singer-songwriter.
Jeez.
There you go.
Yeah, you know what? I wonder what the demographic was of this show, because I was just like looking at some of the kids at the front of the stage, and they look
look
really
young.
young. Like you pointed out, that girl was like a girl, not a woman. But I just
Yeah.
saw like a couple of guys there, and they looked like 14-year-olds.
Yeah, I mean,
Like they look like kids, like teenagers or preteens.
like, and nobody's smoking, which, I mean, didn't everybody smoke back then? Were they too young? Like, I don't know. Ian Pace has got a towel over his head.
Just in a few minutes. But for now, here's something which you might describe as. So we'll jump up and down later on. Here's a thing which is also off the new album Machine Head, out in a few weeks' time, and it's a kind of rhythm and blues type of thing. It's a thing called Lazy. This one, Lazy.
Out in a few weeks' time. Yeah, it would have been March 25th was the release date for Machine Head, so this is a little more than 3 weeks before. Yeah, it's interesting. I wonder how those seats, like, behind the band, how that would have been.
I think it would have sucked.
Well, you can't see them, and I wonder what the sound would have been like, hearing it shoot out to the other side of the hall and then come back at you.
Like, I mean, I would have been like, you know, one of those kids in the like my face right on the edge of the stage.
Yeah. But who knows? They might have only paid $1 to get those seats. It's amazing John Lord didn't have more back problems. It seems like he's always like hunched over that organ.
I know, right?
What do you think of Ian Gillan's shirt?
I like it.
He got
Like
kind
him,
of the-
him and Roger.
Roger Glover's got like kind of almost like paisley looking shirt, and
Yeah.
Ian Gillan's got the triangles.
I always liked this shirt. I always thought it was really of the time, you know.
Ian Pace has long since lost his shirt.
Well, after that drum solo, I'm surprised he didn't need to take a friggin' nap.
It's interesting to see how these musical interludes would evolve over time, and by the time they reform in the 80s, and even comparing this to California Jam and what they do. Obviously, it's a much different set list, but Ian Gillan's just kind of laughing with the tambourine in the background there. People are always posting this segment on Twitter or Instagram, I notice.
I always liked that part because it
That
looked like they were having fun, you know?
That little look he gives them. You're seeing a lot of smiles from Ritchie Blackmore, a purported hater of smiling.
But I just like that part because they're all just kind of like, it looks like they're all joking around.
Yeah, they're just having a
good
great time.
Yeah.
It's got really strong vibes of like Green Bullfrog, you know? Checking his harmonica.
Well, get ready for it. Let me hear me now. You catch that?
Looks like he's wearing a hairnet.
I don't think enough people like probably think about like how much that takes to do that too, because he just blew into a harmonica that he couldn't even like hear himself, and then went right back to singing like this.
Yep. Quite a set of lungs.
Or he was holding one hand over his ear and probably thinking like, shit, I hope this sounds good.
Well, if the harmonica's in the right key, you can't hit any wrong notes at least. He clearly knows what he's doing, but...
Imagine he's like, well, here we go. I hope... Oh.
Ritchie Blackmore's like stuck in a loop there. I love how light his touch is. He just... so much finesse when he's playing.
Oh man, when he gets in that zone. Jeez.
I used to do that a lot, and now I don't think I recognize that I got it from him, but I must have been stealing it from this.
Yeah, probably.
It's not a hi-hat. Insane. The crowd is dead silent too. I don't. It could be just that they're not. You can't pick them up through the mics, but.
I mean, if this shit was going on, I wouldn't be saying anything. I'd just be there with like my jaw on the ground.
Yeah, that's true.
And then just think about that too, like how, like he kind of went off, and then they just like, they had to coordinate and know like the cues to like get back to the main part of the song together.
Like, yeah, and when you're in a band and you're playing regularly, and you've got songs like this where you go off on like a little jam.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to explain, but you just get into this zone where you just know when the changes are gonna come. You pick up, it's that. Pick up on what the other guys in the band are doing.
Yeah. But I mean, it's amazing to hear.
Yeah,
it's right? Just
yeah,
as an outsider, you know?
I mean, I remember being in bands and doing stuff. I don't want to say doing stuff like this because that would be giving us too much credit, but doing stuff where you just like, after doing it again and again and again, sometimes you can't even put your finger on it. You come in and you know you're supposed to come in, but you don't even know what's cueing you. It's just,
All right.
it's
Thank
like
you.
going on instinct. Here we go.
Oh, while John's mending his organ, let's get a rhythm going here.
Look at John. He's like taking one of the keys on his organ is like off.
This is how it goes. In a minute, we're going to have a few breaks, and I want you to keep on clapping all the way through. All right. Yeah.
I guess the organ's fixed.
Come on now. It's like rhythm and blues as well. If you like categories.
If you like categories.
I forgot about that part. So this would be another quote new one.
A new one, yeah, right? Crazy. It's crazy to think that the audience wouldn't have been expecting this.
Right.
I can remember seeing bands where like they were playing something that would later be a hit, but like I was hearing it for the first time at the show, and you just kind of like, oh, okay, cool, new song. And then you think about it later, and you're like, holy crap, that's like one of their biggest hits.
Well, we had a lot of luck on Venus. We always had a time on Mars. When we threw all the grooving people, we rocked the Milky Way so far. We rocked around with Borealis.
Man, that bass tone is incredible.
Yeah, I never really noticed the bass as much as this. Probably because I don't think I've ever watched this show with headphones on.
No, I
No,
definitely haven't.
I think a lot of the stuff that we've watched or listened to on the show was my first time with headphones.
Yeah, we watched it through your parents' like tube television with like one speaker that's right below the on-off knob, you know.
The
and
mono
we were,
speaker.
we were like, oh, we were in awe, but like probably the crappiest audio experience possible on a VHS tape, nonetheless. So couldn't have been much worse than that. Not that we were complaining at the time.
Come on, let's go space trucking. Come on, come on.
This little tiny monitor I have off to the side here where I'm watching this is probably like,
The Bible that we wrote was moving.
probably weighs about 1% of what that TV weighed. And the screen is probably almost the same size. That it's the angle where that you can see the psychedelic girl, but I can't tell if she's still doing the dance. like Roger Glover's just like he's like raking the strings with his pick. Ian Gillan's lugging out the congas. You'd think somebody could bring out the congas for him.
No, they didn't even have anybody to like do their sound. Richie's like, turning the volume knobs on his own amps.
Yeah, he's like
over
going.
there.
Yeah, he's like backing up and like turning it up himself.
Yeah, I feel like they didn't have a road crew. They're like, hang on, John's like fixing a key on his organ. They didn't have anybody to do that for him.
Mickey Mouse operation is this?
What is this, amateur hour over here?
The guy in the back is like wigging out. So it's interesting because like in the even going back probably a few months before this, like mandrake root and well, I'm not exactly sure, but at least in 1971, like mandrake root and Wring That Neck
Yeah.
would have been those big instrumental numbers, and then this is probably the point where Space Truckin' was starting to take over. Space Truckin' and Lazy were taking over as being the longer instrumental pieces.
Weird to think about these guys doing those songs now, like this lineup.
And yeah, I mean, Wring That Neck would have only been dropped from this set for a year or so, probably like late 1970 or something when they started to move on past it. Oh, I'd do anything for that bass. I'd risk it all for that bass, John.
I somehow had a feeling you would.
Someday I will. I'll have one. I've been talking about it for years.
What kind of bass is that?
That's a Rickenbacker.
Yeah, I thought so. Looks like
Probably
it.
either a 4001 or a 4003. I don't know these. But man, I've always wanted one. My wife was like talking to me about it. Like, you want to make for your birthday? And I was just like, it's like, should I really? I already have more basses than I can play. Should have taken advantage of that moment though. Said yes, let's do it.
Yes, sweetheart.
Yes, it's definitely what we need for the family right now. Is how many? Two there, one. So yeah, that'll be my fourth bass that I have right here now.
You know, sure. You know, new roof, patch the driveway, school books for my children, bass.
Those
Yeah,
things are
bass.
also well, the new roof. Luckily, we got a new roof for free thanks to a hailstorm and our insurance. But the driveway's a lot cheaper.
I was just throwing things out there, you know. Did we get a new water heater or a Rickenbacker?
Again, a new water heater probably a lot cheaper.
Be like, sorry, folks, cold showers for everybody.
Well, that's pretty much how it is anyway. Like, even though the kids are still pretty young, like we're on borrowed time for how much longer we can get with this water heater. By the time the fifth of us gets in the shower, it's usually pretty cold. That's awesome. So they would have been on the road for, I don't know how long they were on the road for at this point, but actually, let's see. Because obviously they were recording in,
Look at this.
yeah, they never really stopped. They were recording really briefly in December for Machine Head, and they were just pretty much on the road from January through this point, so they had to set down. Ian Gillan's going nuts on those congas.
God, the energy.
Ah, to be young.
I mean, really, at this point, if you were there and you didn't know the Machine Head album, right? I
Yep.
mean, would it even matter? I mean, it's just they're not even playing a song anymore. They're just
Right.
jamming for half of the set, which is just like that must have been amazing.
That's what he's doing with that organ. He's really making it sound almost like a synth.
He's doing his sci-fi thing.
Yeah, it sounds like R2D2. That sounds like the sounds you get from like I mean, obviously he's cranked up the reverb on something. It sounds almost like a buchla. His fingers look like a crazed tarantula or something. And great, you could just throw something like this in and everyone immediately picks up on it and starts following him.
Another thing I love about this is you just got these musicians just jamming away. You don't have Roger Glover, the producer, the writer of the Butterfly Ball, hands in all sorts of different things. You know, Ian Gillan doing all these kind of wacky songs or whatever. It's just you got each one of them just doing their thing, contributing to this band, just being in that one role. You know what I mean? And just rocking the hell out of it.
Yeah, totally.
You know, and that just adds to like the simplicity of the whole thing. You know. You know, it's not John Lord the composer, it's just John Lord the kick-ass Hammond player.
John Lord just like shoving that organ around. As Lars Ulrich said, what was it? Like, I'd never seen anyone handle their organ that way, but then again, I was only 9.
This has to be probably, this starts like one of my favorite guitar solos of all time.
Yeah, this one right here?
Oh yeah, this whole section is just like still unbelievable to me. Because you can just tell Ritchie is just playing from like pure emotion.
He always is. The way he's handling that whammy bar, jeez.
And the way he's controlling his feedback.
So good dynamically.
He goes with like the cello thing.
And you would kind of get into that a little bit mistreated, right? In the California Jam. He kind of used that technique a little bit. This is where he conducts himself, right? Listen to those respectful Danes in the audience just being completely silent, just like, you listen to Mr. Blackmore. He's kind of like hammering on that chord and then swelling the volume up.
Mm-hmm.
Not to get too far into comparing it with California Jam, but it's incredible that he could achieve this same level of dynamics in a venue that large, 500,000 people. Ian Pace still trying to get rid of that hair. I get it eventually.
Are these guys holding it down?
Yep, Gillan and Glover with the maracas and the tambourine, respectively. Ritchie's just like leaning backwards on his martial head.
He's just so into it.
Oh, he's waiting for something. Pretty incredible.
Oh, yeah. And this is where he gets into abusing his guitar.
A dude in the back with a turtleneck. Someone that knows more about Deep Purple has to tell us who that is. Obviously a roadie or something, but really enjoying the act. So according to the notes from this CD, it looks like Mandrake Root would have been had its last performance in September of '71, if I'm reading this correctly. And probably bumped out in favor of Lazy, which came out of a jam session. Kind of replacing the Ringnet Neck and Mandrake Root sections. There he goes. Crowd's loving it.
Imagine being these people are like, what the hell are we watching?
He's rubbing it on his ass. He's doing a little jig while he's doing it. I'd be afraid
Like
of
that guy up there is like, I
When
would have
you're
been, look
young-
at these kids. They're not even afraid. They're just like, the thing could have hit him in the head. They're like,
yeah, when you're young, you don't care. When you're old, you're like, oh, if that hit me in the jaw, I'd have to see a dentist. I just had this crown put in.
I mean, geez, I'd never seen anybody do this before.
No.
And if I did, I didn't care. They didn't do it as good as this.
No, I mean, he's kind of the, my opinion, and I'm sure Ritchie would appreciate it. He's kind of the heir apparent to Hendrix, you know? He picked up where Hendrix left off.
Exactly.
Which is exactly what he would have wanted, but...
But I mean, these guys were all like borrowing and copying from each other, and they were within the same era. So I mean, you know, maybe Jimmy started it or he was famous for it, but I mean, Blackmore certainly deserves credit for everything that he had done and was, you know, was doing.
The way that he swings that guitar always looks so dangerous.
I know.
He's such an old man. He's always worried somebody's gonna get their jaw broken. Ian Gillan just kicks over the congas. Roger Glover is just manhandling that bass. Looks like he's humping the amps. Organ a good kick, a good measure. There we go.
Jeez.
Ian Paice throwing the drumsticks into the crowd.
Thank you all very much. God bless you. Great to be back in Copenhagen. We'll see you around. Thank you. Good night. There you go.
There you go. Thank you. Good night. There you go.
Yeah, like the whole performance. Yeah, there you go.
There you go.
We gave that to you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, that'd be great. All right. Good night. You're welcome.
Oh, they're leaving the stage, or are they? It's such a small stage, they just have to kind of hover off on the side and wait for them to demand an encore. They seem to be chanting something. I can't make it out. Whatever it in Danish means, play some more. I don't want to spoil it for you, but they got a few more tricks up their sleeve. And that's weird. Like sometimes when I see like, oh my god, 23-minute version of Space Truck, and I'm like, oh my god, that's so long. But it's the same thing with the California Jam. You're just like it goes by in a flash because it's both the audio and the visual spectacle are enough to keep you engaged. Oh.
Sounds like a mouse running across the keyboard.
It sounds like.
Yeah, I submit that this performance is like, I don't know, better than California Jam. Or more
Really?
my favorite, maybe because I saw it first. I don't know. I like both of them. I love both of them so much. I hesitate to say I love them equally, but
They're very, you know, the
Something we had as a record a little while ago. And
neck and neck.
we'll be with you in a couple of seconds as soon as we get our
see they brought out the second bass drum for Pacey there. It's almost like the Space Truckin' performance is so similar, but other than that, it's like almost like two separate bands.
Oh, it really was. I
And
mean,
you
you
just
keep saying
replace-
like, you know, don't worry, we got plenty of time. Don't worry about it. Like everybody's worried. Like, oh, we don't have any time. Maybe there's curfew.
Maybe
Was
or
it, you
those,
know, like
or
all-
those Danish teenagers wanted to beat the traffic. They probably all rode there on bicycles.
Well, yeah, since they're all like 12 in the audience, it looks like
Exactly.
they're gonna get home.
all right, here's the thing.
Oh, listen to that.
Oh, they know it.
Yeah, everyone's going crazy because this is actually from the album they've heard. I mean, they wouldn't be playing the song live much after this either, I don't think. I'm sure there's plenty of them, but I don't remember. I don't know that I'm familiar with any other live versions of this song.
I never thought about it.
It's incredible that we've got this one. And they didn't do, I know they didn't do it live a ton because it required somebody bringing out a second bass drum. It's kind of a pain in the butt.
Oh, I never thought about that.
Here comes Roger. We're watching in pace, but during Roger's solo.
I mean, these guys are so good that they could be like a little off key and you don't even give a shit.
No, they always make it work.
Yeah. Like there were a bunch of times where I heard like, oh yeah, they went a little out of time, or like everything is off key, but it's just like it's good.
Yeah,
it's not even bad. Like they can do no wrong.
Especially with Richie and John, when you're a master of your instrument and you know all the rules, you can break them and it doesn't matter. If I started like hammering away at a keyboard, it would sound like garbage, but John Lord knows how to recover from it or how to tastefully weave it into whatever he's doing. And
Right.
while Ian Pace is doing that, John Lord is wiggling his fingers like he's... It's pretty cool that they've kind of worked in this like little quick 3-song set list, or I'm sorry, encore into their... They only played 6 songs in that main set.
Time for another quick one here. What we're gonna do is an old rock and roll thing from a long time ago. It's a little Richard song. I want you all to clap your hands. Everybody put your hands up in the air and shake your hands around. All right. Hey, come on now.
Say it's a rock and roll song from a long time ago, is that what you said?
Yeah, it's from a long time ago.
Yeah, it was
12 years ago.
like... Exactly. Well, it looks like about 14 years ago. Came out in February of 1957, so it would have been 14 years prior to this, or 15?
I mean, I wouldn't say that.
What's that?
I don't know if I would be like willing to say that. Like, all right.
That looks like a baby. There's a baby in the audience. Look, he looks looks like she's like 6. She looks younger than my daughter. Holy cow!
It's right.
This is rock and roll.
You just me imagine. I mean, that's how at that age how you would react. But like, oh, this is an old one. It's from 2005. This is an old track.
All right, this is a song from 2005. It's from a long time
It's
ago.
a classic.
Like this is some classic. I don't know whatever was going on in 2005. I can't.
I don't think I can name a single song from 2005. Well, you know what? This is in 2021. That's 2006. So
All right, well,
let's look it up. Year end 2006. I don't know any of these songs. Oh, You're Beautiful by James Blunt. Remember that song?
maybe.
Beautiful.
Oh, ugh.
That-
Turn
that's
it
the
off.
that's the only one of these songs I know. All these other ones, I don't even know who these people are. Oh, Sexy Back by Justin Timberlake. I know that song. I've been to weddings.
There's a Justin Timberlake song from a long time ago.
So it's like a band going up there to, oh, this is a song from a long time ago. This is Sexy Back by Justin Timberlake. That's great.
Which, by the way, back to the task at hand. This is a really good version of this song.
Yes, it is. Sorry.
Like one that we're actually listening to right now.
I think we should just stop this and play Sexy Back. Yeah, they're rocking out. I mean, they're totally loose. They're all warmed up. They're just ready to kill it. And all these kids in the audience are like, "Yeah, this song is from when I was 1." Ritchie is going wild. This
Must
is a
love
song.
Little Richard.
This is a song that 12 years later they'd be on stage with George Harrison doing live in Australia. Roger.
I love that. Yeah, they just like whipped into a frenzy. Like just when you think that there was like nothing left in the tank. Which, I mean, let's face it, we never thought that there was nothing left in the tank. Like,
Well, it's like when you're in a band and you're playing that like song that's like so comfortable and easy and that you love so much to play it
Yeah.
like as a cover. They're really sending this crowd off on a good note. This is awesome.
John Lord just do a hurdle over his friggin' organ.
God bless you. Right on. Thank you very much. God bless you, and we'll see you around. Good night. There you go.
There you go.
Good night. They just keep teasing this audience.
Look, and they just say, yeah, let's just walk on the stage, grab a pick.
Some random people
Something.
wandering on stage.
There's no rules. It's all good.
That guy with the handlebar mustache is telling a few kids to get back. That audience got a special treat. But it's not over yet, folks. I don't want to spoil this 48-year-old concert, 49-year-old concert, but they got one more trick up their sleeves. God, it's been a long time since I've seen this, and it holds up just as well. One day when the pandemic is over, you'll have to come over here and we can watch it in person.
Oh, hell yeah.
Here's one you might know. It's one of our records.
That guy's stuffing in his shirt. You see that? Is he stealing like one of Ritchie's guitars or something?
This was a single record we made some time ago. All right.
Like a year or two. I just love how Ian Gillan has like no concept of time.
What did he say? I missed.
He's like, here's a record we made some years ago.
Some years.
It's like he's talking about everything like it's like 50 years ago. It's like 2 years, 14 years. Like it's not that long.
Here we go.
I just think it's funny.
Yeah, he's like been in this band for like 2.5 years at this point.
Yeah.
Man, Roger's bass is just monstrous.
Cranked up.
Black night, not bright. I don't feel so bright. I don't care. Sit tight, maybe a fight on the way down the line that I'm free to be me. Black night is a long way
You can tell John's nearing the end. He's got the towel around his neck.
He's like, I'm just gonna leave this here.
don't need a tree. I don't want to see and feel.
See John singing along to this. Everyone's going crazy. They were a lot more understated with the machine head cuts. They were,
Well, they didn't know him.
yeah, they were taking in new stuff.
I mean, pretty good strategy. They're saving all the stuff that everybody knows for the end.
Yeah, they're sending them out on a good note. Richie's going tremolo nuts on this. I'm afraid he's gonna just rip his bridge right out of the guitar. So also in this venue, the Beatles played its only 2 Danish concerts at this venue. And they also saw The Who, The Rolling Stones, Hendrix, Chuck Berry, Bob Dylan, Pink Floyd, Led Zeppelin, as well as Deep Purple. So this would have been the venue to be at, I guess. I don't know if it's just the pandemic or what, but like I've got all these like lofty ideas, like, oh, when this is over, if Deep Purple, their next concert, if it's in Denmark, let's just fly there and go see it. Like I'm just like Mr. Homebody over here. I've turned into a world traveler in his mind.
Well, that's what being stuck in the house does to you.
We can go to the new KB Holland. Imagine if we should go see them here if they play it in 2021.
Here
Calling
where?
it. The vaccine is rolling out as we record this. It's, I think they had the first American immunization today. How cool would that be to be at the rebuilt KB Hall and seeing Deep Purple?
Oh yeah. Wow, I forgot about that part. Wow.
God bless you and good night. Thank you, everybody. Good night. There you go.
Ian Pace causing more injuries by throwing his drumsticks into the audience.
I never realized until today. He kept going, all right, thank you, good night. There you go.
There you go. There you have it.
Yeah, this is just as like his punctuation to the end of everything. There you go. There you have it.
All right. Well, that was great getting to watch that again for the first time in a very long time.
And together.
And together
For the
again.
first time in a long time.
Yeah. I think the last time I watched that was probably with one of the Bejan boys in in the mid 90s at some time. The last time I watched it in full, like there's like tons of videos on YouTube of the individual performances and stuff like that. So I catch them every so often, or there'll be like a 2-minute segment on Instagram, like I said, but it's nice to actually watch it there full form.
Mhm.
No cell phones, no distractions, just really focusing in on it. But great stuff.
Yeah.
Great stuff.
I mean, great way to start off the new year.
New year. Yeah. Maybe we can finish it off by being there. Now I'm like obsessed, like to see if they play there. And I've never been to Denmark.
Me
Never
neither.
been to Copenhagen, obviously. But so on the cover of the CD for this, actually, I should probably share this with you. There's a is this the cover? This might be the back cover. Trying to find it here. Oh, maybe this is the back cover. But on the back cover to this is a Danish article, written in Danish, obviously, about but you see, I see like, oh, I saw Superstar and I saw Ian Gillan and I was like, and I saw Jesus and I was like, oh, what's going on here? So I put it out on YouTube, and one of our great followers, Frederick Gonzalez Olsen, who obviously speaks Danish, translated it for me. So he says, it says, basically, Superstar gets people to go to Deep Purple concerts. The fact that Ian Gillan sings the role of Jesus on the album version of Jesus Christ Superstar is probably a significant reason for people showing up at the concerts of the beat group Deep Purple. That's the opinion of the leader, John Lord. This is the day they're calling John Lord the leader of the band, which would be, at this point, kind of short-lived, who was in transit at Kastrup Airport yesterday before the concert at KB Holland tonight. Odense on Friday and Aarhus on Saturday. Sorry for those pronunciations. 10,000 audience members. How long the group will last, John Lord doesn't know. He is betting on 3 years himself. Here, the group's records are always among the most sold. As a part of the number of groups, he has visited Denmark 11 to 12 times himself and finds the Danish audience to be open. The strange thing about John Lord is that he didn't listen to the beat music until he was 16. Earlier, it was just jazz. And by beat music, they mean rock. and he has written a symphony for 38. And then he says he can't read the number properly. Instruments. It took him 8 months. I feel the classical part of me is often expressed through my solos, even though we play hard beat. But apparently that just adds color, says John Lord, who plays the organ. So I thanked him for translating the article, and he says, "You're welcome. Just wish the write-up was more interesting than it is,"
Hmm.
which is funny. But I find it very interesting that because this is a slice of time where, there was that brief time where John Lord and Ritchie were kind of vying to see who's the leader of the group, and then quickly it became evident that it was kind of Ritchie,
Hmm.
and probably very shortly after this, and uh, yeah, it's pretty cool to see that. And it's also funny to see. Oh, I think this group will last about 3 more years, which wasn't entirely wrong. It did last
No.
about 3 more years, but then he didn't know it would get together and really kind of last cumulatively more than 50 years. Who would predict that then?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, as far as the information he had and what bore out in the mid 70s, he was pretty accurate. But yeah, that was a lot of fun. We've now, I believe, covered all three of the coveted VHS tapes, Dymo labeled by me
Yeah.
in the 90s. We've covered the concerto very early on. We covered the California Jam, and now Denmark. Now, who knows what live concert we'll cover next by Deep Purple? But it was cool to get into the new year and start it off really right with a what could be more Deep Purple than the Mark II lineup live?
Nothing.
Not pretty much not anything. As we're often reminded by our listeners and everyone else, Mark II is where it's at. Even though we have a huge appreciation and love for Mark III and Mark IV, we also love Mark II. And it was great to get back into them because what's the last time we talked about Mark II or did anything related to Mark II? God, it would have been, was it like Who Do We Think We Are episode? Like episode 18 or
um,
whatever that was? It was a long time ago. Here we are at episode 90. So
well, I mean, yeah. Um, I don't know. You tell me.
I don't know. I can't. I'd have to look at
Okay.
the episode list, and that's too much work.
Yeah. Well, yeah, this is, I think, on a given day, I can't pick, like, of the three concerts. I mean, Concerto is probably my least favorite,
Mhm.
or number three, I would say. But I would say like this is number one and California is number two in my favorites. But I mean, they're like neck and neck. You know what I mean? You could ask me tomorrow, and I would say California Jam is my favorite. But I would say like I'm saying today, like Concerto is definitely like my third favorite. But these two, I think they're just like equal. Like I know I said this is my favorite, but that's probably because we just watched it. But I don't know. I don't think I can pick one that I like better.
Well,
Um,
they're three, even though California Jam and this one are so. I don't know. They're similar, but they're so completely different. It really depends on your mood. You've got a very very different set list in
mhm.
California Jam than you have here. Really, the only song they have in common is Space Truckin', right? Yeah, because they don't do any. Even though they do Machine Head stuff, they do Smoke on the Water, but
They didn't do it
they
here.
don't do it here. And they do the Ian Pace drum solo, but they put it into You Fool No One instead of the Mule. So um it's very different. And like I said, it's much more uh intimate audience with this one of maybe like 4 or 5,000 people,
Yeah.
maybe. And then you're looking at the California Jam, which is you look out and you can't even you can't even see the end of the audience. The lowest estimates I think for a California Jam are 250,000. That's just the number of tickets they sold, not counting the people that hopped the fence, which they
Right.
estimate could be up as many as 500,000. So very very different, um, different lineups. And then yeah, the concerto stands on its own as a very different experience. But I love all three of them. Watching them and listening to them are really really fun, and
Oh yeah, definitely.
I'm glad we got to cover all three. And and didn't know when we would ever get to this one. I'm glad we finally did. And yeah, next time, there's a lot of other obviously notable both audio and video live performances from Deep Purple. Who knows when the next one we'll get to is. But I'm sure a lot of our listeners who've been itching for some proper Deep Purple or some Mark II or some not Tommy Bolin will be happy to. Rich, this one is for you. Hopefully you enjoyed returning a little bit to Deep Purple, at least for a brief time. So, all right, who knows what the rest of 2021 will hold, my friend? Who knows? Not even us. That's who.
Nope. I never know what. I never have a good one. I'm just like, yeah, no. Oh,
that's great. We need to practice. We need to practice some of that. Yeah,
no,
right,
maybe
ho, friend.
maybe we don't. Maybe it's just better this way.
Yeah, it probably is. All right. Well, until next week, I will see you later, my friend.
All right. Good night. There you go.
Thank you for listening to the Deep Purple podcast. If you like what you hear and would like more episodes in the future, please donate on Patreon to support the show. You can also give us a rating on iTunes to help new people discover the show. You can follow us on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook for show updates. See deeppurplepodcast.com for more details. Thank you for listening.